Hey folks, it's Maxie here and welcome to another TEW2020 video. We're in 2022 now, it's our first WWE pay-per-view. Of course we have had the Dusty Rhodes Cup for NXT, but we are firmly on the road to Wrestlemania with the Royal Rumble. Try to boost the rating a little bit. We've got a major band in place, we've got a B-list celebrity, and we've spent $1 million on a special set, so pretty much $3 million there spent on those various things. Last year, a 72 rated show, and we went a wee bit, I think we just kind of went a bit obvious with the Rumble, I suppose, giving it to Brock. The Women's Rumble, I suppose, was a surprise with Tessa, but hopefully we can surpass that. Of course, the main event last year, Cesaro defeating Seth, didn't get down too well, that was only a 68, and we've went with a WWE title match in the main event this time, as we'll have Edge challenge Randy Orton. But looking forward to it. The show does cover the full 300 minutes. So without further ado, we'll head to Wisconsin and we'll have the event. So as always, thanks for watching. If you like what we see here, a wee thumbs up is deeply appreciated, and a tap on the sub button just drops every video into your sub box. So yeah, you get them and you don't have to go hunting about for them, especially on the road to WrestleMania. And of course, you want to buy the game, you want to try the game out, or check other people's content. All the best sources are in the description below. Anyway, Royal Rumble time. Let's do this. So just under the sold out 40,000 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, so not our biggest event, unfortunately. And I thought, how can we get the big angle that gives us halfway a good rating without hampering it? Because obviously I can't do a 4 guys out for a promo at the start of the show, it doesn't really work. So I went for the self-promotion angle. It judges them on their entertainment skill. And basically, thought we'd have like your vignette as you start the show, but you've got promos, Edge is saying what he's going to do to Randy Orton vice versa, The Miz and how he's going to retain his championship, and Big E how he's going to become Universal Champion. So I felt like that's a good way to go, and absolutely delighted to get 100 segment in that. So we just need the main event to do well, and we should be not losing pot basically with a perfect 100 score here. Edge's performance was good. The Miz and Maurice have pretty good chemistry, more on that as the show goes along, and Randy Orton enjoyed having the freedom of going off script and performing well. First up in action, we'd about had subpar wrestling and little heat as Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin defeated the Usos in 12:15 when Alex Shelley pinned Jimmy Uso with an underarm snap STO. Sabin was the weak link, struggling to keep up with everyone else's in-ring performance. A 64 though is pretty good. Of course, we know that the Usos have joined forces with Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns as part of the Samoan Dynasty, and I just felt like SmackDown's tag division is a bit lacking, so Shelley and Sabin are up from NXT. The plan is eventually to go to 3 hours with SmackDown as well, just because of the amount of members of the rosters that I've got. So they're up, and obviously we need to give them a big win, because we're going to build them towards a championship match eventually with Santana and Ortiz. So a good victory over the Usos on pay-per-view, a big event, will hopefully help their momentum and how people view them. So a good win for Shelley and Sabin in the opener. Next up we had a good matchup. The Saw the Velveteen Dream defeat Walter in 14:56 with a power line. An 81 performance thanks to both guys having pretty good chemistry. Dream's been very iffy because of the whole situation IRL, but with WWE using them and Walter having promises in this to put him over, I felt like cool, we'll go with it. Same with Austin Theory, if he's on WWE television, we'll look to utilise him. Anything else comes out of it, straight back out the save. So Dream will get a push, and Walter has helped that with a victory here for the Dream. Next up, we're hyping towards our Women's Royal Rumble, so I didn't want to have them back to back. Becky Lynch is just saying she's gunning to win this again, even if Ronda Rousey's in it. She still wants to become Women's Champion again for the first time since returning from giving birth. So that was a 72 rated promo. Charlotte stakes her claim. Of course, former champion lost it to Liv Morgan on the SmackDown brand. That was a 63. And the match itself, 64, so better than last year. Let's name everybody off with Alexa Bliss, Aaliyah, Asuka, Bayley, Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Billie Kay, Candice LeRae, Carmella, Charlotte Flair, Hikaru Shida, Io Shirai, Jessamine Duke, Lacey Evans, Mandy Rose, Marina Shafir, Mickie James, Nikki Cross, Peyton Royce, Rhea Ripley, Ronda Rousey, Ruby Riott, Sasha Banks, Shayna Baszler, Shotzi Blackheart, Sister Abigail, who's back from her giving birth, Sonya Deville, Tegan Nox, Tessa Blanchard, who's now pregnant as well, and Vanessa Bourne, who's also pregnant as well. So quite a few that will be joining maternity leave at the end of the end of the month, sorry. Well, end of February. So a terrible matchup, and we saw Rhea Ripley win the Royal Rumble in 60-37. The other members of the Final Four were Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, with Ronda being the final elimination. Shayna got the most eliminations over the course of the match, and Charlotte Flair set the record for surviving the longest. But your winner of the Women's 2022 Royal Rumble, Rhea Ripley. So a 64. Carmella, Peyton, Ronda, Sister Abigail and Tessa were off their game. I had to protect a lot of them to put Rhea over, but Becky doesn't need it, Ronda doesn't need it, Charlotte doesn't need it, Shayna doesn't need it. So I'm using this to utilise and put a new star over, because there's a lot of women in the division that don't really need championship reigns at this moment in time. They're probably above the title, so it's up to us to get people in title matches, and yeah, hope they can get better. So a good win for Rhea, and I'm looking forward to building her road to WrestleMania. And after the matchup, she celebrates to a 74 rated segment. Speaking of the SmackDown Women's division, it was a bout that had a good reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling, and had Dakota Kai defeat Liv Morgan in 11:40 with a top rope splash, meaning new SmackDown Women's Champion, and that is Dakota Kai. So a 62 for the matchup, a 58 played a 62 in-ring performance. Dakota's been one of those ones I've been itching to give the title to. She's been great since she came up from NXT, but because Charlotte had it for a long time, there was just no real need to go heel v heel. Liv gets the win over Charlotte. She's obviously been established a little bit, but I just feel like a short reign for Liv Morgan, you can keep building her up as an underdog, and it gives Dakota Kai her first title reign. The problem is, when you've got so many people you want to give championship reigns to, some title reigns need to be a lot shorter than others. So Dakota Kai, 2 months to get to WrestleMania. Will she still be the SmackDown Women's Champion? Next up, we've got a hype package for The Fiend versus Kevin Owens. That was a 78. These two have been at it for a while. The Fiend alongside the Guardians of the Fiend, or the Protectors of the Fiend, which we want to call them. They're now released in real life, Akam and Razar, which I'm so pissed at because the potential they have is massive, hence why I've aligned them with The Fiend. So it's been 3-on-1 assaults in the 3-on-3 matchup at TLC, but this one is loser leaves Raw. The loser will leave the Raw brand, and will it be Kevin Owens? Will it be The Fiend Bray Wyatt? Well, it was a superb matchup, and The Fiend defeats Kevin Owens in 18:07 with Sister Abigail. A clean victory for the heel here, an 81 rated performance, and after the matchup, Shane McMahon confirms that Kevin Owens hasn't been fired by the company per the text, but he has been let go from Monday Night Raw. Got big plans for him going into WrestleMania season. Stay tuned on that one, because it's going to be a blast. Next up, Maryse and The Miz are shown arguing backstage, and this is only a 54 rated segment. Performance of The Miz was fantastic, obviously a great tandem together. In this, she's been a big factor in why The Miz is stage Universal Champion. Unfortunately, in-game, literally a couple of days ago, they got divorced. So I want to kind of have the game, you know, kind of things that happen in it alter my save a little bit. So, well, if they're not together in the game, then they shouldn't be on screen in game. So, yep, they'll be slowly but surely drifting apart. And of course, The Miz is defending his championship belt against Big E, someone that's had a big run of momentum in recent weeks. And it was an exceptional matchup, and Big E defeated The Miz in 18:27 by DQ, meaning that The Miz is still Universal Champion. So exceptional matchup. This probably would draw in the 80s, like high 80s, if they had psychology between them. Nobody has it, which is a massive shame. The reason for the DQ was basically Maryse, it doesn't show yet, but Maryse hit The Miz, botched apparently, but that's just getting them split, and it means The Miz keeps the belt and yeah, loses his wife on screen. You can see there Miz should be accidentally hit by Maurice for the finish. So just a 79, which is a bit disappointing, but it keeps the Miz as Universal Champion, and that's not all I want to see. Declining physical ability. We then have Brock Lesnar, who's going to be competing in the Royal Rumble. Someone I've not really used a lot in 2021, but Paul Heyman's just bigging him up, saying, won it last year, let's get retaining it, let's get back into the WrestleMania main event. Keith Lee is in it, and he says Roman Reigns tried to take him out, and he's going to make sure he's going to do everything in his power to make sure that Roman Reigns doesn't win the Rumble. He's just looking to get his hands on him and make his life a living hell. So 84 for that. Drew's promo about how he's going to win it was an 83, and the Rumble itself an 80. That's not too bad for a Rumble. Rumbles are really hard to go over, and quite good to know that only Tucker was off his game. But this Rumble was fairly stacked with Adam Cole, AJ Styles, Aleister Black, Andrade, Angel Garza, Braun Strowman, Brock Lesnar, Bronson Reed, who's in the main roster now, Damien Priest, Daniel Bryan, Drew McIntyre, newly to the main roster, Eddie Edwards, Finn Balor, Hiromu Takahashi, Jay White, John Cena, Johnny Gargano, Karrion Kross, Keith Lee, King Corbin, Marcel Barthel, Matt Riddle, Nick Aldis, Roman Reigns, Samoa Joe, Seth Rollins, Shinsuke Nakamura, Tetsuya Endo, Timothy Thatcher, and Tucker. What a stacked Rumble that is. But we had a good matchup. Roman Reigns wins in 75-41, and the other members of the Final Four were Keith Lee, Drew McIntyre, and Karrion Kross, with Keith Lee being the final elimination. Karrion Kross got the most eliminations over the matchup, but your winner of the 2022 Royal Rumble, the big dog, Roman Reigns. So heel Reigns in the main event. It's already decided who he's going to be facing at WrestleMania. I just need to make sure I can book it in game to have an absolutely stellar main event. So an 80-rated Rumble. Edge then has his promo on Randy Orton as he's looking for that one last championship run. He says Orton's been on his A game the last year, but so is Edge. He says this is it, this is the final chance he's going to get to be WWE Champion. Their matchup was also an 81. It was an exceptional matchup, and it was Randy Orton defeating Edge in 21-47 with an RKO, giving Orton his second title defence. Edge got an 88, Orton got a 92. Edge was off his game on 88, which is incredible, and also Edge was visibly tiring towards the end of the match, so that's going to take a lot of points off it. What else did? Would it have been the commentary? I'd imagine the commentary, stamina and consistency would have took a lot of points off. That could have maybe been close to an 80 rating matchup as well. But it's just kind of giving people opportunities before we get the up and comers that will be there for the foreseeable future. So we finished the show. There you go, an 89. You're probably wondering how the hell have you an 89 with just a 100 rated promo and then the rest way under that. Well, 90% of half the show is rated on that. The rest is rated on 90% of the 81. Plus when we've used our various things at the start, the celebrity and all that, that boosts it up as well. So that gives us an 89, increasing our pop in 56 regions. So because of the money we've got at the company, anytime there is a big show, we are going to start implementing them. So I think at Mania, we're going to go all out and just put everything in at the max amount to try and get that 100 rated show. So we'll skip to the main screen. We'll see how we did financially in the month of January. If we have got a good amount in our balance, then we'll probably just make sure our networks are a wee bit better, just to keep expanding, not even just the exposure for ourselves, but also for all our development companies. So then when the youngsters come up to the NXT and then they come up to the main roster, you know, they're in a much better place and a better chance of getting to the main event because they already have a decent amount of overness. I try and call them up at about 50 odd over now, so yeah, hopefully that can benefit them. So wee things to check. Hall of Fame for Ikuto Hikada Rumble was awesome, fantastic reviews. I think that's about it there. Amazing Maria has left the business. So Sky Perfect TV deal, we'll sort that one out. That finishes in 4 episodes time. Kyle O'Reilly got a new contract. Finished first out of 2 in the American Battle. The Miz says that Barthel has a lot of charisma. Big E says that Sonya Deville is a natural talker. Drug testing was 10,000 because obviously all the wrestlers are there. The viewing figures was 8.3 million, of which with a 5.13 buy rate and 2.5 million views. I'll keep that there so I can sort that off video. 61 million, so we only lost 16 million last month, which is crazy considering again 46 million towards media. So I'm just going to probably put us up a good amount into the media section again. Let's have a look, see what we can do. So back to here, and where's investments when you need it? So obviously WWE Horizons and WWE Network we can fix. It's going to be Horizons because that's basically breaking into markets where we can't get a deal in basically. So Oceania has now been moved to enormous, and that's going to cost us a lot of money there, but it gives us most exposure. It's so basically we can start running shows in these places, because obviously we know that India was quite a shambles for the Crown Jewel event, so if we get more of that in the future, hopefully we'll be fine. But good position most places in the world, 80 odd over, 81 in India, but in terms of the actual workers being over there, not so much. And as you can see there, Vanessa Bourne and Tessa Blanchard's due for maternity leave. So I'm not going to check too many people here as Bray Wyatt gets a wee bit over this. I'm just going to check out the people that won matches and lost in the main events. The Edge is still way over, but he lost to Randy Orton. You can see the Viper way over in the States, not so much in Canada. But even if we were to drop Randy into India, he's absolutely going to draw a perfect rating. The Miz is the other big victor. 90s across the board. He's even over in Canada. Maybe not so much in India. So it's quite weird how that works, that some are over in certain places, some other. Roman Reigns, the big dog in the 90s, he's crossed the board ever since he was able to break the pop cap. He's over very well. And with her big victory in the Royal Rumble, Rhea, she's still not the most over, but that's what we're going to work on. And yeah, she's kind of floated about the same. I think that's when she lost the title, roughly about July. Let's have a look. SmackDown October, so even as champion she started losing it, but had a good run as champion for pretty much 11 months, which is quite frightening. 10 11 months, which is quite frightening. Because the interesting thing about Rhea is we're going to turn her. So that's going to be down the line before she actually does turn babyface, but it will be happening. So that is it. I don't know what exactly it is next. It's either going to be the Elimination Chamber, which is just 13 days away, or it will be the NXT Portland event. I think they might be in the same weekend, so it might be that. So I don't know, you'll see what pops up. But yeah, we're on the road towards that, and then of course after Elimination Chamber we head to WrestleMania weekend. So cheers for watching, much appreciated, take it easy, and let me know your predictions for what you think could pop up at WrestleMania. Who do you think will be facing the big dog, and who do you think Rhea Ripley will face at WrestleMania? So cheers for watching, take it easy, stay safe, and remember, all videos for this WWE Save still up Mondays and Thursdays. So take it easy, see you soon, bye bye.